Hey everybody, so since I've been covering this a little bit, I thought it would be appropriate to do a follow-up. So the nurses went back to work this morning with a tentative contract with Montefiore Hospital and Mount Sinai. Little research that I did, a couple articles I read, it seems like the nurses are getting what they asked for, the 19% wage increase over 3 years, and the nurses to patient ratio drastically reduced. Now, they didn't say a number. I know before it was 20-1, and then the hospitals had offered 15-1, and they didn't accept that. So let's hope it's at least half. I think 10-1 is a lot, but it's appropriate. 20-1 is ridiculous. But anyway, yes. Let's go for a win for unions and the power of striking. It fucking works. So about 7,000 nurses went back this morning. And, you know, from the videos that were on the news, like, these nurses were happy. Like, they want to get back to their patients. Could you imagine being a NICU nurse? You know, and I'm going to go to babies because babies have a special place in everybody's heart, even if they're ugly or not. You know, you're caring for a baby sometimes a year in the NICU. And let's say you've been with this baby, you know this baby, you know their family. You don't want to be away from this baby. You're caring for this baby. You probably texting a retired nurse like, do you know how's my little patient doing? They want to get back. You're a nurse, you care about people, you love people, you want to get back. So they were cheering and really happy that this is over. No nurse, teacher, police officer, MTA worker, they do not want to strike. These conglomerates and organizations force them to do that, you know, and you have my hands tied and I have nothing else. This is what I'm gonna give, you know. And Montefiore put out some bleeding heart statement that they're happy that we could come to a resolution, blah blah blah. Look, this is aired static. You could have fucking did this 3 days ago, but you thought they was bluffing. You thought they was bluffing. You end up giving them what the fuck they wanted anyway. You could have done this without the strike, but you didn't think they was going to strike. And big up to that union president and all of the negotiating committee that, you know, rallied all of their members together for the strike. And then it also came up in one of the articles, I think it was, I want to give credit, Daily News, that I didn't see anywhere else, and how some new nurses who didn't, you know, still on probation and stuff, was threatened to be fired if they went on strike, and how Montefiore, and specifically Montefiore Hospital, neglected to tell them about their right to strike. So there were a lot of new hire nurses who still worked through the strike for fear of being fired. So that's another case that the union is going to take up with. And I learned that the nurses union have filed charges against these hospitals for unfair labor practices, and they are not withdrawing these charges just because there's a contract. Good for them. Good for them. They were sweatshopping these nurses, sweatshopping them. And I'm glad that their union is strong enough and smart enough and have the financial backing to be able to take these big hospitals to court, because, you know, these hospitals, a lot of their money goes to lawyers. Best believe they lawyered up. Another little thing that I saw that I didn't know about was that if the hospital is short-staffed on nurses, the hospital has to pay a fine to the nurses. So if you go on your shift and there's supposed to be 5 of y'all and there's 4 of y'all, the hospitals have to give you pretty much extra money, a fine. You know, not including the overtime pay that you have to pay to compensate, but you get extra money for basically having to do extra work. Because if there's 100 patients and there's 5 of y'all, that's 20 patients each. But if you're short a nurse, you got an extra 5 patients. Don't test me on my math, guys. You know I'm not good with numbers, but I think that's right. So anyway, I like that. don't just pay me for my hour, pay me for the time that I'm gonna have to work during that hour. I love that shit. What else? Anyway, that's my little update on the nurses. They got what they wanted. They're back to work. Yeah, good thing about this car, I just told this car, you're gonna have to drive. You're gonna have to drive today. Yep. Anyway, that's it with the nurses. They're back to work. Montefiore and Mount Sinai, they pretty much gave the nurses what they asked for, and they're back to work. So win-win. Unions work.